Hello, church. I wanted to share with you this morning a few thoughts about butterflies. This links so nicely to the word that James brought to us on Sunday, the 19th of April. And given that on that day I also went for a walk and was surrounded by butterflies, I was convinced that this was something to share. I've been thinking about what it means to be the church in lockdown. I've got a pastor friend, who introduces all of his sermons, "Hello, church," and now all his videos start the same way as well. And it is a great reminder that the church is not the building that is closed at the moment, but it's us. So what does it mean to be the church in lockdown at the moment? And why the image of butterflies? Well, the important thing for me about the butterfly was the process of change that got it there. So let's start with the caterpillar. The caterpillar is definitely not the finished product. The caterpillar is designed for change. It's on a journey towards maturity. And there are many verses in the Bible that tell us that we have that similar process ahead of us as well. 1 Peter 2 verse 2 tells us to crave pure spiritual milk, because by it we will grow up into our salvation. And 1 Corinthians 3 verse 2, Paul is telling his followers in Corinth that he gave them milk and not solid food, for they were not ready for it. There's an implication here that we have a journey to go on, that we will change, that we will become more mature, and as a result, the nature of the food that we take will be different as well. So the next thing that I wanted to think about this caterpillar was that it prepares itself for change, but it doesn't actually carry out this change itself. Apparently the caterpillar is pretty much just a stomach on legs. It spends its time eating leaves, and it does so until it's ready to form a chrysalis. The whole purpose of its existence up until this point has been to come to this moment of change. So the chrysalis forms around the caterpillar, and at that point the caterpillar isn't doing anything in the process. It's just something that happens to it, and that is exactly the same for us as well. So we prepare ourselves, we put ourselves in a place where God can work with us, but we're told very clearly in the Bible, in verses like Romans 12 verse 2, that we are to be transformed. This is an imperative. It tells us we have to do this. But to be transformed isn't something that we do to ourselves. It's something we allow to happen to ourselves. We're transformed by the renewing of our minds in Romans 12, but we're also transformed in 2 Corinthians 3:18. Says that while we contemplate his glory, we are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory. Great thing about this verse is it does give us a clue as to how this transformation is to take place. If we spend our time contemplating God and his glory, we can't help but be changed by it. And the best is the promise of what will come. Philippians 3:21 tells us that God will transform our lowly bodies so that they will be like his glorious body. And that is our ultimate transformation, and the one that we look forward to at the end of our lives. And finally, let's think about the new nature that the caterpillar takes on. See, with its new nature, it has a new appetite. No longer does it eat leaves. It's grown up. It's like that difference that Paul was talking about, the difference between spiritual milk and spiritual food. So we might find, as we spend time in this lockdown chrysalis, that our appetites are going to change. The way that we meet God, the way that we seek God, is going to mature. And we will find that we're in a better position to spend time with him and to meet him in our everyday lives than we were before. And so here's the reason behind this, and what really excites me about the whole process, is what would it be like after lockdown, when all of these members of the church emerge from their chrysalises, no longer as caterpillars, but as butterflies. I look forward to a church where we've allowed God to transform us through this time, and I look forward to seeing what we'll become.